and welcome to We Learn. Session 2 HR Audit, HR Audit Introduction. Topic to be covered: HR Audit Definition, HR Audit Objective, HR Audit Scope, HR Audit Benefits, HR Audit Tools, HR Audit Nature, HR Audit Approaches. Why should conduct the audit, how it should be conducted, and how are needed improvement identified. First is HR. First is HR audit definition. That means now we are going to study about what exactly the definition of HR audit. As in the first session, we will discuss about the HR part. What exactly the HR? What is the work of the HR? We discuss about the HR. Now we are going to understand what exactly the audit HR audit. Audit is basically kind of discussing, checking, or conducting the audit area. So HR audit is the process of examining the policies, procedures, documentation, systems and practices with respect to an organization HR function. It is kind of examining everything, examining, conducting audit और एग्जाम दी पॉलिसी, आपकी पॉलिसीज़ को चेक करना, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के जो प्रोसीजर्स हैं उन्हें चेक करना, प्रॉपर एक डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस को चेक करना, सिस्टम को चेक करना, प्रैक्टिसेस को चेक करना, जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट या हाउ एचआर इज फंक्शनिंग, एचआर किस तरीके से काम कर रहा है, उसे एचआर ऑडिट बोलते हैं. इट मीन्स अ सिस्टमैटिक असेसमेंट ऑफ अ स्ट्रेंथ, limitations and development need of the HR management in the context of the organization performance. So it is basically the systematic assessment of or understanding the strength, limitations and the development areas of HR managers, how HR performing in the organization, how they were actually performing in the organization. We can say that the HR audit bring out the certain balancing or help the organization department to generate certain balancing in the concept. So HR audit is the process, that is why it's a process of examining, because company was used to generate the balancing between all the HR functioning and the other organization. Now what are the various objectives of HR audit objective? एक HR audit objectives क्या क्या हो सकते हैं या what are the objectives of HR audit? So the first is to analyze and improve the HR function. Yes, किसी भी तरीके की चेकिंग या किसी भी तरीके की अंडरस्टैंडिंग या एग्जामिनेशंस क्यों होती है HR में? सबसे पहली इसकी रिक्वायरमेंट इसलिए है ताकि हम अपने HR फंक्शंस को एनालाइज कर सकें और उनको इम्प्रूव कर सकें. दैट इज़ टू एनालाइज एंड टू इम्प्रूव दी HR फंक्शंस इन दी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, की वो और अच्छे से और बेनिफिशली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर काम परफॉर्म कर सकें. Then another is to expose the strength and weaknesses in the HR function and any issue need to resolve resolution. जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि एक HR फंक्शन की, जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि एक HR डिपार्टमेंट की क्या स्ट्रेंथ है, क्या वीकनेसेस हैं, उसी स्ट्रेंथ एंड वीकनेसेस के बिहाफ पर ये समझना कि किस तरीके से एक HR सोल्यूशंस या जो भी इश्यूज अराइज होते हैं एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में उसे कैसे रिजॉल्व करती है. थर्ड इज टू इवेल्युएट द एफिशिएंसीज एंड इफेक्टिवनेस ऑफ HR फंक्शन, टू वर्क आउट द एफिशिएंसीज फैक्टर, दैट इज टू ब्रिंग आउट, जब हम कोशिश करते हैं हमारे HR के अंदर, HR डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर जब एक एफिशिएंसी और इफेक्टिवनेस लाने के लिए, देन वी नीड HR ऑडिट. Then to ensure whether the HR function is on a right path to achieve and helping the companies to achieve its goals, objectives or not. In terms of कि हमने जो भी HR functions बनाए हैं या जिस भी तरीके से HR procedures हो रहे हैं, जिस भी हिसाब से HR performances हो रही हैं, वो उसी पाथ पर ट्रेवल कर रही हैं जो कि हमें या एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के HR डिपार्टमेंट को एक गोल्स और ऑब्जेक्टिव की तरफ लेकर जाता है या नहीं. These are the basic concept of HR audit objective that we need to understand कि ये सारे objectives required होते हैं organization में जब हम HR audit करते हैं. These are the basic purposes of HR audit कि HR audit क्यों ज़रूरी होता है और HR audit क्यों करना चाहिए. This is actually the purpose of that. Then guess what are the scope areas of HR audit? HR audit की बात हो रही है तो HR audit किस तरीके से अपने scope को वाइडर करता है, किस तरीके से एक HR ऑडिट हो सकता है. सो ऑडिट ऑफ ऑल द HR फंक्शन, HR के अंदर जितने भी फंक्शंस होते हैं, वेदर इट्स फंक्शन रिलेटेड टू द रिक्रूटमेंट एरिया और इट्स रिलेटेड टू द any industrial relationship concept or it's related to the admin part. So जितने भी HR के सब functionings होती हैं, उन सब functionings में proper तरीके से काम करने के लिए we need the HR functioning. So that HR audit we need. So all the HR functions required audit. Audit is that means examination or checking. Then audit of managerial compliance of personnel in terms of bringing out the management compliances or the management completeness on the personnel. If the audit is conducted, if the examination is going to be conducted, then the management understands that how much they need to improve and what area they need to improve. So that is obviously moving towards the managerial compliances of personnel. Then policy, procedures and legal provisions. Yes, policy, procedures and legal provisions, bringing out or understanding all the policies and procedures and the legal factors in it, just to understand the policies and procedures of the company. Audit of a corporate strategy regarding HR to bring out the good corporate strategy in HR department. Strategies are one of the area which require the good information, good database in the concept. So the audit of the corporate strategy regarding the HR would be required. Then planning, staffing, industrial relationship, that's IR, remuneration and others HR activity. That means properly working on all the areas of HR. HR की जितनी भी फर्दर एक्टिविटीज़ होती हैं, वेदर इट्स रिलेटेड टू रेमुनरेशन, वेदर इट्स रिलेटेड टू स्टाफिंग, वेदर इट्स रिलेटेड टू प्लानिंग, वेदर इट्स टू इंडस्ट्रियल रिलेशनशिप, उन पर काम करना, उन पर इफेक्टिवली परफॉर्मेंस देना या उनको और अच्छे से अंडरस्टैंड करना, दिस इज द अनदर स्कोप ऑफ HR ऑडिट. Audit of the HR climate on the employee motivation, morale and the job satisfaction. That is basically working on the HR climate on the employees motivation. Bring out जब एक good employees motivation चाहिए होता है, एक अच्छा morale चाहिए होता है, when there was required a good job satisfaction, then yes HR's audits comes into a picture. So जितने भी अभी हम लोगों ने पढ़ा just to कि HR के सारे functions में audit करना, मैनेजमेंट के अंदर एक अच्छे से compliances लेके आना, प्रोसीजर्स और पॉलिसीज़ को अच्छे से फॉलो करना, एक सही कॉर्पोरेट स्ट्रेटजी बनाने के लिए, HR की सारी एक्टिविटीज़ को अच्छे से करने के लिए, HR की क्लाइमेट को मेंटेन करने के लिए ताकि वो एक मोटिवेटेड और मोरल क्लाइमेट दे, इन सब के लिए हमें HR ऑडिट की ज़रूरत होती है. दिस इज व्हाई द HR ऑडिट इज रिक्वायर्ड एंड द स्कोप ऑफ HR ऑडिट इज दिस. Then other are what are the various benefits? Yes, by understanding the scope of the HR audit, we got the idea about what exactly the benefits of HR audit. Just to improve the contribution of HR function to achieve of our business objective. Business objective को achieve करने के लिए, business objective पर सही तरीके से काम करने के लिए we required the HR audit. HR audit in terms of the प्रॉपर फंक्शनिंग और अंडरस्टैंडिंग दी कंट्रीब्यूशन की एक ऑब्जेक्टिव के अंदर हमारे जो भी एक बिजनेस ऑब्जेक्टिव है उसके अंदर हमारे कंट्रीब्यूशंस कितना है ह्यूमन रिसोर्स का, उन्हें सही जगह लीड करने के लिए, उन्हें सही जगह परफॉर्म करवाने के लिए वी रिक्वायर्ड HR ऑडिट एज मेंशन्ड इन दी स्लाइड्स. Then the picture is basically mentioning that they were the people who were actually performing in the organization and they retained or they performed in the organization, we required HR audit. Then to develop the professionalism of our HR people, yes, to bring out the professionalism in the people, the day to day or we can say that the quarterly or the weeklies or the yearly basis जब किसी भी तरीके की audit होती है, mainly yearly जब किसी तरीके की audit होती है, so it is always have a certain kind of a criteria कि yes अब audit होना है, so we going to be analyzed, we going to be considered in terms of एक professionalism whole year रहता है in the concept of the audit. Reduce the HR cost. Yes, it is actually help in increasing the efficiency of the people working in the organization. जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ऑलरेडी काम कर रहे हैं उनकी एफिशिएंसी इंक्रीज होती है, दैट्स ऑटोमेटिकली उन पर बहुत ज़्यादा सुपरविजन, बहुत ज़्यादा एफर्ट्स देने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती, तो हमारी ऑटोमेटिकली कॉस्ट भी कम होती है. Find out the problems and solve them smoothly. That's very obvious. This is actually with the help of the coordinations or understanding the problem before actually happening it. So in that case, yes, प्रॉब्लम के सॉल्यूशंस, प्रॉब्लम्स को ढूंढना और फिर उनका सॉल्यूशन प्रोवाइड करना भी एक बेनिफिट है HR ऑडिट में. देन प्रोवाइड्स द टाइमली लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट, दैट इज द बेसिक टाइमली पर्पस. जब एक करते हैं जब HR ऑडिट होता है, तो दैट कम्स इनटू दी provide the timely legal requirements. Then sound performance appraisal system. This is basically working on the sound performance appraisal system, that is bringing out कि हमारी audit की वजह से we come to know who are the effective employees and who are not, जिसकी वजह से एक अच्छी और एक effective टीम क्रिएट हो सकती है और उसका एक प्रॉपर अप्रेजल भी हो सकता है. So that comes into the sound performance appraisal system. Then smooth adoptions of the changing mindset. Yes, it is very much easy to bring out the good mindset or change the mindset of the people working in the organization, which is one of the very difficult tasks. So in that case, smooth adoptions of the changing mindset would be there. Then what are the various tools of the HR audit? Tool is basically किस तरीके से या किसकी मदद से हम एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर ऑडिट कंडक्ट करवा सकते हैं. So yes, there are various tools in the organization just to conduct the HR audit. It could be happen with the help of interview. एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर एक इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट हो सकता है. इट कुड बी डॉक्यूमेंट रिव्यू, जितने भी आपकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, जितना भी फाइलिंग वर्क होता है एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, उसको रिव्यू करना. The audit team could be able to conduct certain kind of questionnaires or put certain kind of questionnaires formatting in the front of each employee. Or sampling in terms of getting the ideas or estimating the sampling part, that we select the 5 people and now the audit is going to be conducted on the basis of that 5. So that is sampling. So audit should be, it is required in that condition कि audit जो है it required to have a proactive, that's very active and take initial steps. Then another is reactive. Yes, at the same time being in a proactive, they get the certain answerings or certain feedback from the opposite parties. So in that terms, yes, there would be a proper reaction. Then informative and informative, yes, it is required to have the information regarding the concerned issue. And informative, after that, developmental is basically developing the concepts or basically developing on the um, various aspects of HR. So that comes into the development concept. Now what are the HR audit nature? In a HR audit is basically a tool for evaluating the personal activity of the organization. The audit may include one division or an entire company. So it make feedback about the specialist. It also provides the feedback about how well managers are meeting their HR duties, in terms of, yes, it is the tool of evaluating the personal activities of the organization to working on the personal activities of the organization. So HR audit may include one divisions or an entire company. So in that case, audit could be conducted on the basis of the one division, or it could be basis on the whole overall the environment of the company. So in short, the audit is basically the overall quality control check on the HR audit activities in the division of or the company, and the evaluation of how does activity support the organization strategies, that how the actually preparation of the quality check is going to be conducted, overall quality control is going to be conducted, and yes, at the same time how to evaluate these activities by the help of organization strategy. Then yes, what are the various approaches of HR audit? HR audit की क्या क्या approaches हैं? If it comes to the understanding about the approaches of the HR audit, the approaches of the HR audit is basically divided into the 5 parts. The first is comparative and approach, another is the outside authority approach, then another is the statistical approach, then compliance approach, and then yes, management by objective approach. In terms of, you have to understand the all the approaches. That comparative approach is more towards when the auditor is comparing the one employee with the other. So that comes into the comparative approach. Then outstanding authority approach, it is just to bring out the outside resources in the organization. Statistical approach, bringing together, clubbing together all the data of the organization, that comes into the administration. Then management by the competitive approaches. Objective, management by objective approaches in terms of bringing out the proper objective approach in the management that comes into the terms of HR audit. Now approaches, yes, in the comparative approach the auditor identified the another company as a model. So the result of their organization are compared with those of the model country in terms of, yes, it is basically the result of the other organizational companies who actually compared with those of the model company. Then in the model uh, in the outside theory, in in the outside authority approach, the auditor used the standard set by an outsider consultant as a benchmark for comparing the own resources. In that terms, yes, it is basically required to understanding the outside authority of the approaches, and the audience used to stakes the set of the organization. Then it is statistical approach. Statistical measures of the performance are developed because on the company's existing information in terms of, yes, it is basically working on the statistical approach, statistical factors through which the company can improve the current situation or current factors. HR audit approach. HR audit is basically it is the compliance approach. Auditors review the past actions to determine if it does activity compel with the legal requirement and the company's policy and procedures. That means just to getting the understanding whether the employees ever move on towards any kind of a legal documentations or the company's policies and procedures. And yes, at the same time, the MBO approach create a specific goals against the which performance can be measured. It is basically this very much specialized goal through which overall performance is measured. Then the audit team researches HR by MBO in terms of by getting the proper understanding about the HR audit. We need to understand about the HR and its performance records. Now another is what should conduct the audit. किस तरीके से एक audit conduct किया जाता है. So yes, the team that is responsible for the audit should repeat across culture of the organization staff and including the line staff, middle and upper management, and thus responsible for the HR functioning. For you may use an external consultant to assign in terms of, yes, the term with responsibilities of or responsible of audit, वो responsibility जिसमें एक audit जैसी चीज़ें रखी हुई होती हैं और audit जैसी चीज़ें की जाती हैं. It should represent a cross selection of the organization staff and getting the ideas about the cross selection staff. Then how it should be conducted. किस तरीके से एक HR audit हो सकती है. So the HR audit process consists of the series of the questions covering the following primary components of the HR function. So HR functions के अंदर कुछ primary concepts हैं जिनको ध्यान में रखा जाता है. Few are roles and HR information system. This is the area where the HR system is going to be conduct the certain kind of an event or certain kind of an conclusions or parties in the organization. So role and HR information system. Then recruitment is the another part of HR audit to bring or to sit in the recruitment and just to glance and understand the candidate. Second is the documentation, considering all the documentations of the respected or would be employee. So that comes into the training and development. Then another is the compensation and everything. It is basically bringing out or have some ideas or have some compensation for your employees. It could be bonus, it could be advantage, it could be idea. So bring out the certain advantage for the people of the organization through which they can bring the proper communication, and for the with the help of that proper communication they bring out the effective HR audit. Then the performance management system and evaluation in terms of bringing out the good management system just to gather the proper understanding about the HR audit. Then transmission and transpirations. That's transmission is basically bringing out the transmission concept that to transfer the goods to the another person, and transactions is basically when the influence is actually conducted. Then legal issues and personal policies. That what are the various legal issues where the personal policies will be actually conducted. Yes, if we are talking about the HR audit, so according to the every field there must be the policies concept. So in that comes it is required to have the policies factors in the HR concept. And yes, another is the health and wealth system. This is related to what exactly the health of the of people of the organization, what is the exact wealth of the companies. Then employees relations, this is what the working on the employee relationship concept or bringing out the proper employee relationship. And yes, another is the safety concept. Safety is bringing out the proper safety in the organization. Then other is how it should be conducted. Yes, the main purpose is to collect the information to answer the HR audit question in such the above category, and all the relevant information in terms of to basically answers about the um, or the main factor of this HR audit is basically the process to be collected information to answer the HR audit. So bringing out the proper process, that what kind of a subject the or bringing out the concept into the HR audit. Then the focus is on how these activities and tasks are actually performed in the organization. How the performance is going to be affected, how the performance is bringing out with the good performances. Then other is the process of getting the information in, and it itself can be quite informative in terms of bringing out that information that brings the certain uniqueness. The process of getting the information in itself can be quite informative. Another is how are needed improvement identity. किस तरीके से एक improvement identity हो सकती है. Once the information is gathered, the audit team receive each major selections and they note the difference between the paper and practices. So this can done by accomplished to the best compared to the best practice, what should be the best or our organization's mission. So it is basically to bringing out the certain best who actually performed or gathered for the sections of all. Now then another is how is follow up and correction done. किस तरीके से एक बिजनेस प्लान या एक ऑडिट के अंदर करेक्शंस हो सकती हैं. First is a work place with the timely, accountable and deliverable should be credited after the team reviewed the comparative audit and identify the area where the improvement is ended. In terms of it is what bringing out or developing the bringing or developing or working on the work plans of the HR audit, but that plan should be timely, accountability and deliverability. Then follow up and review should be add, so for a management function performed on the ongoing processes. So एक management process इसके अंदर enter नहीं होना चाहिए. This is an ongoing process, very much continuous, so that it didn't come into it. So now there are few questions which you have to do it yourself. First is define HR audit, why it is needed. HR audit क्या होता है और इसकी ज़रूरत क्यों होती है. You have to explain the importance of HR audit. Another is what are the nature and objective of audit. You have to define what exactly the nature of audit. So yes, and yes, with the help of the nature you also have to explain the objectives of an audit. So this is all about for the today's session. We were winding up here. Thank you so much. Happy learning. We learn.